Welcome back to the channel. Today we bring you a powerful and emotional story based on real events. The film Girl in the Basement, 2021, is not just a thriller. It's a haunting reminder of how danger can exist where you least expect it. If you enjoy real-life inspired stories that grip your heart, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's begin. Amy was a bright, independent teenager, ready to start her adult life. But her world turned upside down because of the one person she trusted the most, her own father. It began with a simple request. He asked Amy to help him carry some items into the basement while her mother was away. Though usually defiant, Amy agreed this time. As they moved things downstairs, she noticed something unusual. A hidden door behind a bookshelf. She found it odd, but since it was her father, she didn't question him. Sadly, this trust led her straight into a nightmare. Without warning, the door shut behind her. Her father had locked her in. Amy screamed and pounded on the walls, but the room had been soundproofed. No one outside could hear a thing. At first, she thought it was just temporary, maybe a harsh punishment. But when she opened one of the boxes he brought down, she saw it was filled with her personal belongings: clothes, food, and supplies. That's when the terrifying reality hit her. This wasn't a mistake. It had been planned. Panicked, she tried everything to escape, including guessing the password to the door's lock. But there was a trap. After 3 failed attempts, the power and even ventilation would shut down. She tried calling out through the air vents, but her father blocked them from the outside. He had thought of everything. That night, upstairs, her family gathered to talk about Amy's sudden disappearance. Everyone was worried, except her father, who sat silently on the sofa, hiding a dark truth. The next day, Amy made another escape attempt. As her father opened the door, she made a run for it, only to discover a second door outside, also locked and soundproofed. She screamed with all her might, but it was no use. Her father calmly brought her back and warned her. If she cooperated, she'd be treated well. If not, things would get harder. From that day on, Amy's life became a routine of survival. She stayed locked in that room, trying to stay strong. Her world became smaller, colder, and scarier. Weeks passed. Then came a disturbing moment. Her father brought her a cake and a dress, saying it was for her birthday. He asked what she wanted. She hoped for freedom. But instead, he offered more supplies if she continued to behave. He even forced her to stop calling him Dad, asking her to use terms that made her deeply uncomfortable. Feeling helpless, Amy followed his instructions just to avoid more trouble. One day, while eating from a can, she realized the lid was sharp. She quietly saved it. Maybe it could be her way out. She waited patiently for the right moment. But when the time came, her father had already sensed her plan. He stopped her easily and warned her again. Her hope slipped further away. Soon, months passed, and Amy was no longer the same. Her body and spirit had taken a toll. Eventually, she found herself expecting a child. With no support, no help, and only her memory of what she'd read in books, she prepared herself for the most difficult task of all. After hours of unimaginable pain, a new life entered the world. Amy, now only 19, had become a mother in the darkest place imaginable. But instead of bringing change, her father continued as if nothing had happened, bringing down a few supplies and calling it a gift. Amy stayed quiet, trying to stay strong for her child. When she found a fruit knife among the supplies, she thought for a moment. Could this be her chance? But deep down, she knew nothing would come from it. 4 long years went by. Her mother still hoped Amy was alive. One day, she suggested hiring a private investigator. Her husband became angry and stormed out of the house. Another red flag. Back in the basement, Amy tried to raise her daughter the best she could. The little one began learning to draw and write. She proudly showed her work to the only adult she ever knew, not realizing the confusion of who he really was. To make life feel normal, her father brought in a television, allowing them to watch the world beyond those walls. For a moment, Amy smiled, but it didn't last. When her daughter fell ill, her father brought medication meant for adults, guessing the dosage. Amy was terrified to give it. She asked for help, but he brushed her off and left. That was the breaking point. Amy could accept the pain for herself, but not for her child. Another year passed. Amy's older sister ran into her ex-boyfriend, who asked about Amy. He believed she had left him. Surprised, the sister realized their father had lied. Back home, she confronted him. When he grew defensive, she noticed something, a key on the sofa. Trusting her instincts, she picked it up and walked to the basement. Something wasn't right, and that key might finally reveal the truth. Just as Amy's younger sister kept searching for answers, their father suddenly appeared. Suspicion filled the air. The younger daughter glared at him, demanding to know the truth. Had he been hiding Amy all along? But instead of answers, their argument grew more heated. Meanwhile, in the basement, Amy was giving birth to her third child. Without any help, her father decided it was time to send the newborn upstairs, using the baby as a distraction to calm Amy's mother, who was growing more concerned by the day. The next morning, a baby's cries echoed outside the family home. Amy's mother opened the front door and found a basket with a note. It said the child's mother couldn't care for them and begged for help. The handwriting was Amy's. Her mother burst into tears. She finally had proof that her daughter was still alive. She called out for her husband in joy, completely unaware that he was the very person behind Amy's suffering. Once alone, he picked up the note and returned to the basement. He read it out loud to Amy, mocking her cry for help. Believing she had gotten too comfortable, he threw a red dress at her, a cruel form of punishment. Amy didn't resist. For the sake of her children's emotional well-being, she tried to stay strong and loving despite the harsh reality they lived in. 14 years passed. Amy's oldest daughter had grown into a bright, beautiful young girl. She began experimenting with makeup, learning how to present herself, a bittersweet sign of time passing. Her father noticed the change and gave her a look that unsettled Amy. Amy immediately shielded her daughter and warned him to stay away. Furious, he cut off their electricity. Again, without power, the ventilation stopped, and Amy's daughter, who had asthma, struggled to breathe. Amy stayed by her side, comforting her through the episode. Then, 17 years went by. Upstairs, Amy's mother still held hope. She often imagined her daughter suddenly returning. And then, a miracle. Rainwater started leaking into the basement. Amy smiled for the first time in ages. It meant the outside world wasn't unreachable. She and her children moved furniture, making space for her to dig toward freedom with a spoon. Over time, the hole actually grew bigger. Late one night, while her children slept, Amy managed to create a small opening. She pointed a flashlight through it, signaling for help. And someone saw it. A neighbor noticed the light and came to investigate. But when he knocked, it was Amy's father who answered. After hearing about the light in the garden, he immediately sensed something was wrong and rushed to the basement in a rage. He lashed out at Amy, targeting her stomach without mercy. After he stormed off, Amy feared the worst. Her instincts were right. She later gave birth to a child who, heartbreakingly, didn't survive. 18 years had passed. Her father, now facing financial troubles, became more unstable. He took his frustration out on Amy. He bragged about how well one of the children who lived upstairs was doing, safe, free, unaware. The other children, confused and angry, blamed Amy. Amy finally revealed everything. How she had been trapped since she was a teenager. How the man they knew was not just her father, but their father too. Her children were shocked, especially her daughter, whose asthma flared up once more. Amy held her tightly, telling them not to give up. One day, they would get out. Another year passed. Now unemployed and desperate, her father brought fewer supplies. The children grew weaker. Amy tried pleading for more, but he mocked her. Her son, unable to take it anymore, tried standing up for her, but he was no match. The confrontation made things worse. That night, their father attempted something unthinkable. He quietly attached a hose from his car's exhaust pipe to the basement vent. A silent, dangerous plan. But just as he began, Amy's third son walked into the garage and interrupted him. The father quickly covered it up, pretending to fix the car. His plan had failed. For now. He rushed back to check on the basement. As he opened the door, he found Amy's daughter having a severe asthma attack. Amy begged him to take her to a hospital. At first, he refused, worried she might speak out, but Amy promised. She wouldn't say a word, not if it meant saving her daughter's life. He finally gave in. Late that night, he brought them out of the basement. Amy, seeing the outside world for the first time in nearly 2 decades, didn't even pause. She rushed her daughter to the hospital. Thankfully, doctors were able to stabilize her condition. But something wasn't right. The hospital couldn't find any records for the girl. No ID, no name. A nurse asked them to fill out some information. When the nurse left, Amy asked to go to the bathroom, but her father refused. She waited for the right moment, then knocked over a water cup, drawing him away from the nurse's station. The second he turned his back, Amy ran. Her father tried to leave too, but his strange behavior caught the attention of security. They stopped him immediately, and just like that, it was over. After 24 long years of unimaginable pain, Amy was finally free. She had been taken at the age of 18 and kept hidden for over 2 decades, a victim of someone who was supposed to protect her. In reality, she gave birth to 7 children during that time, not 4, as the film portrays. The real story is even more tragic than the movie. The emotional and physical trauma Amy endured can't be summed up in words. It will take a lifetime to heal. If this story moved you or opened your eyes to something unthinkable, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. It helps the channel grow and brings more true stories to light. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.